All right, as we're talking about it in advance, I record virtually everything, and I do it because I'm an optimist, right? You know, what I believe, right? And I know this may sound insane, and I probably do need, attention, but I record all these things on the belief that people that I'm working with will actually watch them before asking me a bunch of questions. I actually think that's true. And even though there's oftentimes not a lot of evidence of that. So there are some agents who are interested in learning how to do stuff, and then they watch all my videos. I only have like 500 of them, and they learn how to do things, and then they just ask me questions about the parts they don't understand, but that's not normal. Normally people wait until they have somebody that wants to buy a house, and then they call me, and they haven't done any of the prep work. So the more the videos that you watch in advance, the better. That's my opinion. But if you really need help, I'm probably going to help you anyhow, because that's sort of the job. Now, what I wanted to talk about today were some lead generation things that you ought to be doing. And although I'm going to be demonstrating how to do some of this using the software that comes with EXP called KV Core, which, by the way, is not owned by EXP. It's not like KW Command is owned by Keller Williams, right? And I'm not saying that Gary Keller at night reads your email, but he probably could if he felt like it. Coldwell Banker and Citrix 21 and Better Homes and Gardens all use the ZAP program, which is owned by the company. And there are, it's good, but KV Core is not owned by EXP. You could buy a subscription if you wanted to. And there's other real estate companies that use it. Having said that, what I'm going to talk about is something that you could do without special software. Some of the things, not so much, but at some point you're going to need to get some help. But we're going to talk about a marketing system. I don't know if you guys realize this, that the market is shifting. How do I know that besides reading, things that are posted on the internet? And the answer is because I have active clients, buyers and sellers. My team right now has probably close to a dozen escrows going, 3 of them. One closed, actually, 2 of them are mine. One closed yesterday. And so I know what I'm seeing is there are still multiple offers, but not as many. They're still going over list price, but not as much. More inventory is coming on the market. And the thing that I'm really got my attention is I'm starting to see a bunch of listings hitting the market by sellers and agents that are not particularly ready, right? They're not ready. They don't have the disclosures together. They don't have it staged completely. It hasn't been cleaned yet, but they're rushing to put it on the market. Why are they doing that? And the answer is because there's a fear that the market is about to crash, right? And so and people are rushing. By the way, one of the videos that I'm planning on making, and I'm just going to share how you could do that too, but it's going to be a short video on the upcoming market crash. Now, if you're asking me, which I don't hear anybody asking me, but if you're asking me, Mike, do you really believe that the market is about to crash? The answer is no, I don't think so. Right. And if it is the market going to slow down? Probably. Is it going to shift to what would be more normal? Yes. Price increases probably are not going to go up as fast as they have. But the idea that we're approaching what happened in 2008 and 2009 is not the case. I was there, right? I was there. I was part of the problem. Right? I was writing 100% offers, no money down, stated income, that was sort of the thing. What could go wrong, right? So even though the market may not be crashing, we can't predict the future. And we do know what kind of market we have right now if somebody's thinking of selling, right? We do know that, right? So what I've also noticed over my short time in the real estate business is that some things will work and then they won't work. I'm talking about lead generation. They will work, and then they won't work, and then they will work again. And I'm going to go through some examples of those. Now, those of you that have been coming to my classes know that my belief is you ought to have a system for communicating with the people you know and the people that are in your database. And that system ought to involve at a minimum, 2 mailings, emailings, 2 every month, at least 2, right? 2. Now, I know agents that do it every 10 days, and I know agents that do something every week, right? And we would modify the plan if the person was a hot buyer, we want them looking at listings. If they're a seller, we may modify that, but we're talking about the nurturing part of the database, right? We collect, we connect, right? And then we communicate, and in the communication, this is called the 4 C's, the last one is close, right? In the communication, we want to keep our name in front of people. If I were to ask you, and you can, this isn't a yell it aloud, and it is name a potato chip, right? Don't yell it into Zoom because it only messes up my example. I imagine you can think of one, right? A potato chip. If I said name a second one, you could probably name, if I said name a third one, most people stop to think for a second. Name a fourth one, they slower. How about that? That's a new word, slower, right? So when they interview people and ask them to name a real estate agent, most people can come up with 1 or 2, sometimes 3 off of the top of their head. But when they sit them down and they give them a pen and a piece of paper and they ask them to really think about it, how many people do they know that have real estate licenses? The average is 8. 8, right? When they start to really think about it. So do you understand, in order for you to get business from your database, they need to think of you first. The goal is to be top of mind awareness, right? The goal is for you to be the first name that comes out of their mouth. To second, third, you won't go that far. So one of the things, 2 emails a month. One of them ought to involve what's going on in the market. Next week, I'm going to do how to do an email on what's going on in the market, right? The other one, and I usually do this once the month has changed because there's new statistics. And I'll talk about how to do it easy, which means you have to wait till like the 15th of the month for the California Association of Realtors to produce their infographics, because you don't want to make your own, right? But I generally try to do this the first week of the new month because, hey, look what happened in June, right? So let's talk about how to generate leads. The first thing, let me finish my thought. One of my thoughts was you ought to send something about the market every month. And the other one is you ought to send something out about what's going on in the community. So I have an example. Now, those of you that are in my coaching program, and this is sort of a holiday kind of a thing, as you might have guessed. If you're in my coaching program and you have access to my document library and you go into the document library, for those of you that are like, huh? Right. And so if you're not familiar, if you're in my coaching program, it would be under shared with me is where you would find the document. And there's a document library. And in that document library, I put in things that you might find useful. All of which, by the way, if you're saying, well, I'm not in your program and I don't have access to that, well, talk to me. We could work something out. And most of this you could find on your own. Holiday marking through 2019 to 2021. Why do I keep I'll delete some of the old ones, but some people like to see what I did last year. This is what the folder for July 4th, 2021 looks like. And you're going to see there's some images and there's a document, and there's a document that looks like this. Right now, this would be something that we would email to people. I'm going to show you how I created it. And so how could you? I'll tell you how I created it. I got my assistant, Ra, who's very good at this stuff, to make it for me. But I get to take credit because she's not here to say, I did it, you know. But she actually does this. So let me just give you set the stage. One is you can do nothing, right? You can do nothing. right? You could sit on your hands and you could wait for somebody you know to call you and say, I want to buy or sell a house, right? That's an option. Number two, you could learn to do this yourself, right? Which I'll show you how. The internet is filled with ideas. If you're in my coaching program, you can copy and modify what I've done, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But another option is you could pay people to do this for you. And generally speaking, there's two kinds of systems you could pay for, and they'll do marketing for you. One of them is like, I have a subscription to a company called Keeping Current Matters. And Keeping Current Matters produces social media marketing, and they produce stuff, which you can post, videos and all sorts of stuff. That kind of stuff is better than nothing, but not maybe a lot better than nothing. Right. And the reason, and I know people are going to say, I get good results from it. I've been using it for years and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What I think and what I know is the kind of marketing that gets attention is hyper local. And using a subscription service does not produce hyper local content. Right. And I've got more examples which we're going to go through. But for example, how many things are opening up again? How many of you are in an area that has craft breweries? Anybody? Anybody here? Anybody? You're all in California, right? I mean, have you ever heard of avocado toast, craft breweries, wine bars, right? Ever heard of these things? Right? I'm skipping the avocado toast. It's just so. Could you highlight in your newsletters a local brewery? Right? Could you do that? Right? And have a link, and are they doing things? And could you also, and I'm going to show you how to do this, post it on your blog post. Somebody lives next to Sierra Nevada. I assume you're talking about the brewery, not
I do.
The mountain range.
Sorry,
well, anyhow.
Oh, I was saying, sorry, I live next to Sierra Nevada Brewery.
Yeah, I guess I'm. You can't take anything I say seriously. I realized I'm familiar with the brewery, Pale Ale. Yes. So there's many other good ones. So let's say though that like if you live next to the brewery, this is actually could have an advantage. Is the brewery opening up? Are they doing events? Are they having tastings? Right? Are they doing stuff? Could you mention that in a newsletter and have a link to the brewery? And then what you do is you post it on Facebook and tag them, the brewery, tag them. How do you think they're going to react to you tagging what's going on at their brewery? I'll bet they like it, right? I bet they do, right? So the part of the process of getting referrals, like you could go knock on doors. Hey, when do you plan on selling your home? You could call people on the phone. Hi, my name's Ryan, real estate agent. I'm just trying to find out when do you plan on selling your home, right? You could do that, but it might be more effective if we worked with local businesses, right? So restaurants, breweries, and by the way, some of them will do advertising with you. That's another class. I have a class which I haven't done in a while, but I doubt you guys will even like the topic. But the topic is called How to Farm for Free, right? Doesn't that sound like a terrible topic? And I may do that again. So anyhow, that, as you can see, is a GIF. Time to celebrate. Yeah, now this is, you might be thinking, I would never post the turtle with the patriotic hat, and if my life depended on it, fine, find another one, right? You know, we were having fun. Bay Area 4th of July Events Guide 2021. How do you think I found a list of events that are going on in the Bay Area for July 4th? Anybody have a thought about how you could find such a list? There's a particular website I always go to. It's called Google. Yeah. And so what I did is I Google searched Bay Area, 4th of July Bay Area events. Now, what I'm saying is, let's say you're in San Diego. My suggestion is that you search 4th of July events in San Diego. If you're in Sacramento, you see where I'm going with this, right? And so what you would want to do is have your own list. Now, I've gone ahead and dropped them all in. How did I get this? We copied and pasted it from somebody else's list. Now, if you're really into bringing things at the highest level, you look at every list for your area and make your list the most comprehensive list by including ones that others forgot. That's more work than I really want to know, but here's some of the things that are going on. Look at this graphic over here on the left. The season of red, white, and blue may bring you some green. Real estate market is stronger than ever. Where did I get that image? I'll show you the site I borrowed it from. I've also put it in the document library. If you just become aware, and I'll paste this into the chat for those of you that are, chatty. Let me find, how do I get to chat to everyone. This is a much longer link than I expected it to be, but I signed up, so Core Fact emails me stuff all the time, right? Now, this may seem like a crazy thought, but let's say you got the title companies to send you stuff, lenders to send you stuff, everyone else that has a list to send you stuff. You don't have to work very hard to come up with blog posts and contents for a newsletter because they'll just send you stuff. So free 4th of July real estate social media graphics is the title of this post. And by the way, Core Fact, and how do you download them for those of you who don't know how to download things from a website, I don't know. And then you'll notice over on the right, there's social media postings for every quarter, which tells you what kind of holidays are coming up. You could do something with that. All right. So you're going to replace this with what's going on in your area. And again, Rob is very good at this. She's way better than I am. And again, there's another thing that's, another Jeff. I'm in Morgan Hill. Now, would it be possible for me to just do things? I'm in the Morgan Hill, Gilroy, it's called the South County area, south of San Jose. I could just be doing things down here, right? But my sphere of influence, which is basically real estate agents, is all over the state. I'm doing this for the Bay Area because I think the concentration of my people are in the Bay Area, right? So you could change it. 4th of July, Independence Day trivia. Really? There's an icon, and you'll see the icon is linked to something. This is, and we need to add something. I want to add something. How do I do that? Okay. Maybe I'm going to have to show you how to add something. And I might want to spell it better. All right, and then what, I'm going to have to fix this. So what we're going to do is, let me just explain how we do this, right? Because, and we were sort of rushing today. I'm the worst person in the world to work with, by the way. So how do we do this? We would go to images, find one you like. How about something that looks good? I don't know. It's not about the image. Save image as. I'll put it, why not? And so Ra's already, so the idea is the 4th of July Independence Day trivia is self-explanatory. This link, not so much. And she's going to work on that. And what I would do is where it says 4th of July Independence Day Trivia, we're going to want to move that down. And so put something out like, something like games that you could play or something like that. Here, let me share one other thing. Sorry about this. I'm doing this in a speedy way, holding open house. So here, this I'm going to share with everybody. I'm surprised they didn't do this at the beginning, but I've got lots of people writing off this, by the way. I just want you to, this is a good thing. Copy the link. All right, done. Cool. Back here to this. All right. All right. Chat. All right. So what I've done, and I usually do this for many of the big, holidays. First of all, why have a blog? And first, it's possible that no one's going to read it but you. It's possible that some people may read it. Now, what it also does for us is it gives us the ability to store content that we can link to. So for example, some of the things we have are some infographics. If we stuff all the infographics into the email, it's got problems, right? Some email server systems will
refrigerate my tomatoes.
What? Sorry, I didn't get that. Somebody. Oh well. Anyhow, I heard a comment, but I didn't quite get it. So what we can do by putting things in the blog is that rather than stuffing all of the articles and content into the newsletter, what we can do is have links in the newsletter to where they could get more information if they're interested in. And so here are some examples, right? And I didn't have time to give you examples on all of these, but you could probably figure out how to find them, including the infographics, how to make homemade ice cream, how to make a flag cake, right? Which I think I have here. Anyhow, I've got it in the blog post, but we haven't put it in the email. This is just, I guess, an example. And I'm going to show you how to use this to actually email to people and how we created it. But these are some examples of things that you might want to collect. There's also a marketing technique, for lack of a better word, called pop buys. And what a pop buy is you make, if you've got clients, got past clients, got people that you have a strong connection with, you could pop by and give them something related to the holiday, to the market, something, right? You could do that. You don't have to give it to everybody, but you could pop by. If you're curious about that and you're saying pop buys for realtors, that seems like a good idea. There's a woman who actually has a pretty good website, and it's called something like called popbuyideas.com. I'm not seeing it on my list after I just mentioned it, but Pinterest, here is 100 real estate pop buy ideas. You get the idea. I see real estate agents that get bottles of hot sauce and they have their own labels made because it's such a hot market. I know, it smells, but it sells. All right, I'm just saying. So we're gonna, if we have articles that are related to whatever the what we're talking. I just had 3 calls and I missed so much. Is this recorded? Yes, it's recorded. There'll be a nominal charge to watch the recording. I'm just kidding. All right. So what we're going to do, how did we create this, right? And I didn't have a chance to do the flag cake, but you could have recipes. It's actually a lot easier to make a cake that looks like a flag. How was this done? If I highlight everything, you'd see these lines. See all these lines here, these boxes? What that is a Google Doc table. So the way we create this is we start in Google Docs, and it just seems to work really well. Normally, when we would insert a table, usually the most we do is 2 columns one, right? So when you see an image on the left and information on the right, how do you get those two things to stay next to each other, to stay put? The answer is you put them in a table. Let's say the top part of this, notice how this is just one big long thing. It says the Michael Devlin Group. If you highlight this and right click, you can merge the cells. And here, let me just make another one. So if I want that to be a completely wide thing, I merge the cells. Now it's one thing, right? So your real estate team name here, right? And then you put images, text, you get the idea. And then once we've laid it out, we highlight everything, right? Select everything. And one of the things you can then do is, oops, wrong place, is you can remove, you take the border, right? And someplace here is the border. Let me just do this. This is what happens when you have somebody who does it for you all the time. That's not what I want. What I want here. Highlight color. Oh, I don't know. It's here someplace. There's a way to change the border here. And I'm not finding it because it's pushing everything around. So once we've highlighted it, we basically just remove the border, which is taking me a moment to figure out how I used to do that, but it's not here. Here we go. Insert image, comment, link, highlight. I don't see it. Format, paragraph styles and columns, bullets, more options. I'm going to have to ask Raw how she removes the border, but I bet if I asked Google, it would tell me. But once we've done it, click the line, she's saying. All right. I don't see it. I still don't. Here we go. Delete column rows with table properties. There we go. Table properties. Easy. Pick no border. And then when we click on OK, the border is gone. Right? That was a long way to explain it. So anyhow, you can see I rely on others that are better at this. But it was sort of my idea. Is she's showing it to me. Thank you, Ron. So does everybody? So this is how we lay it out, right? And you could do that too. And you could make a copy. Those of you that are in my coaching program of this, and you could, put in your name, and you have to put in the broker's name. I see we haven't done that yet, which I'm going to just put in down here. But so what do we do with this? Okay, so you've made a Google Doc and you created a table and you've got content in the table. What do you do with it? Well, first of all, you can copy it and you can use a variety of programs that will bulk email. I use a program called YAMM, Y-A-M-M, which is called Yet Another Mail Merge, and it does email merge. But let's say you have a system like KV Core, or some kind of a system. I don't know about all of them, but I'll show you what we could do in our system. So if I go to Smart CRM, and I'm not going to send this to everybody because I want to look at it, but I'm going to send it to whoever this guy is, right? And how about these two guys? I'm surprised there are others with my name. All right. So and by the way, I could have highlighted everybody. But right now I'm just doing this as an example. Notice mass email is a choice. So I've clicked that subject line, and what I'm probably going to do is, here, let me just, right? Something like that. And since I copied it, let me make sure oops, wrong one.
Can't see the screen.
You can't see the screen?
No.
Are you sure you can't see the screen now? My thing says I'm sharing the screen. And my assistant says she can see the screen. Ra says she can see my screen. Anyhow, so I don't know. So I'm copying everything. I'm doing a control A. Here, let me see if we get. I can see, other people can see the screen. So I've copied everything, right? Just control A. I'm going to get rid of pump lines. I'm going to paste it in. And notice what's happening. The GIFs and everything are there. And I'm not going to do the advanced editor because I'm lazy. I'm just going to click on send. And what I've now done is sent an email. Let's see what it looks like. It's going to eventually come to me. I think I've got the right ones. I just sent it to everybody. Now, it's possible in KV Core and others to create a template like, but I find making something in a Google Doc in a table is a lot simpler. Getting rid of the, the borders once we figure out how to do that, and copying and pasting it into an email and sending it to everybody. Now, what you don't want to do is to have a bunch of BCCs. I couldn't see the full file with all the images that you show on the screen. That may be true. I haven't looked at what it comes through yet, Colleen. You're ahead of me. And let me just see. And it hasn't come through. So I don't know. I do know that if you click on these links, it will, I'm sorry, Colleen, I don't know which links you're talking about.
Oh, it's in the chat that you post at the beginning. I assume that link was to share this file with us for.
No, this file is in the document library. It's not this file, right? If you want, you have access to it, Colleen, because you're in my coaching program. But
I'm honored on that.
Right, so just go to the document library and you're going to find it. I already went through and showed everyone. It's in a section called Holiday Marketing, 4th of July, 2021.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So the easiest button is we just copy the whole thing, put it in an email and blast it out to our database. Now, we don't want to do BCC and CC, that kind of stuff. You don't want everybody to see everybody's email. BCC is okay if you make the email to yourself and then BCC everyone else, but we don't know who's opening it then. And we don't know what's going on with that. This system will tell me whether or not this Devlin guy opened either of the emails, which eventually, it's going to tell me. All right. So you need, I would suggest that you, twice a month, you do something about a holiday, assuming there's a holiday or events or something going on locally in your community. Restaurants that are opening, right? I went to breakfast at a new restaurant in Morgan Hill that opened today. Right? I mean, not just today, but recently, right? That's the kind of thing we would talk about, and find them on social media, link to them, get them to like you on social media, all that sort of stuff. What else can we do? All right, so yeah, you ought to be sending an email to your database twice a month. One of them ought to be about community events, holidays, and one of them ought to be what's going on in the market, and that ought to be specific to your area. And next week, we're going to do an example of that. What else could you be doing? Well, one of the things that I've noticed, and in EXP and KV Core, it's under lead engine, is that we're starting to get more of an interest in a variety of different things that weren't that interesting to people before. I'll give you first example is open houses. Now we're starting to do open houses again. And I talked about this in a previous class, but I'm going to quickly go through it again. I'm going to create what's called a squeeze page. Notice it's an IDX squeeze page. Now for the geeks that are online, you probably know that IDX stands for the Internet Data Exchange, which means MLS listings, right? That's what a squeeze IDX means, listings. And notice you can have multi-property, single property, a seller squeeze page, which I'm going to start doing again, right? There was a while when sellers weren't clicking on them, and that's because they assumed their house was worth $100,000 more than they thought it was. Whereas now that people are afraid that the market may be wobbly and maybe prices are going down, more people are going to be constantly wanting to know what their home is worth. But we're talking about open houses, right? So even, we're not talking about you doing an open house. We're talking about you generating leads because there are open houses. I'll give you an example. I'm going to start with Santa Clara County, right? And when I type this in under search criteria, well, come on, don't stop now. There we go, Santa Clara County, as opposed to the city of Santa Clara or the area of Santa Clara, which is kind of the same thing, the county of Santa Clara, which is much bigger. Listing types, so I guess a condo would be okay. I imagine I wouldn't mind a single family and probably even a townhome, right? And so those are the three listing types. I'm not interested in style. Price range, when I was having breakfast with another agent, there's a listing in Morgan Hill that's been on the market for like 500 and something days. Boy, does this sound too good to be true, right? It's a 10-acre parcel with a single family home for under 600,000. Yeah, except the house is built without permits and the structure has to be torn down and you need a 4-wheel drive to get to it. And that's why it's been on the market for 500 days. But I could say I'm not interested in anything below a certain price range, right? So I could screen out open houses. I just could screen that out, but that's up to you. Options, when we go down here to options, it's going to give me a bunch of different options. One of them is open house. Now, I could, if I knew right now that I'm doing this because I'm going to run an ad on Facebook. Let me just say this. You can make money without being any good at computers or social media, right? You can, right? You just have to be good at talking to people and networking with people and good on the phone and good in person and make an effort to go meet people, right? You can do that. But if you're going to, and you can get a little bit of business just by posting things on your own social media account that people you know will see and maybe react to. But in order to really get a decent amount of business from social media, you either have to be an influencer. And one of the people that I had sponsored in another company, who I had actually helped her when she started her YouTube channel, is got a YouTube channel that's doing really, really, really well. I mean, some of her videos have 5,000 people that have seen it, which I'm telling you for a real estate video is very, very good. So you can get traction from social media as an influencer, making videos or doing things that get people's attention. Or you can run an ad. And you could run a Facebook ad and you could run a Google ad. So let's say I was doing this squeeze page with the idea that I was going to run it in Facebook or Google or something. I could put that in, I don't have to. The reason for putting in a hashtag is because a hashtag will allow us to connect this to a follow-up program, which I'm not going to go through, but I have videos on how to do it. And the hashtag would be something like open house list, right? You can't have spaces and things like that. But once I've done this, I'm going to hit generate. It's going to give me a short list, a short URL. And the short URL would be, can you share the name of the YouTube to get an idea of the type of videos to make? I don't know, she's a competitor. I actually like her a lot. And she and her, let me see. See, now you're all gonna like her channel and not like my channel. There we go, there's Amanda, how you doing? And
Hello, welcome to my channel.
Now I was working with her, by the way, I was her mentor and coach at a different company. I was talking to her about how to launch her channel. And I actually know where she went to get help on how to do it. And she made that banner. She's got videos. And most expensive home we've toured yet is the housing market sustainable luxury homes in Monte Sereno. I've been showing some of those, not that one. And you can see 260, 522, but there was a couple of them that she did, usually on why San Jose is a horrible place to live. One of those that she did had like 5,000 views, right? And so what you can do if you want to figure out how to do this is find local YouTubers, right? And or for that matter, it doesn't have to be in, if you're not in San Jose, it doesn't have to be in San Jose. Find somebody who's got a lot of views and they've got a lot of subscribers and they're in real estate in Florida or Texas. We're not going to steal the specifics. We're just going to say, wow, that video on why people are leaving San Jose got 5,000 views. I can make one too. Yeah, in internet marketing, rather than being unique, it sometimes works better to copy somebody who's already doing something successful. All right, so I've generated these links. The short link I would use if I were texting somebody, right? What's that? What link are you referring to? Says Colleen. I'm talking on the screen. I've created the Idx Squeeze page that has these two links, a long one and a short one. And what this does when I paste it in is it's going to show me all the open houses in Santa Clara County. There they are. So this is the result that we're going to, excuse me, give to people who signs up for our free giveaway, right? So one of the things that if, let's say you have a typical real estate agent website, it generally will not produce any business for you at all. What produces business are landing pages and squeeze pages. So, and what I've done is I've created a spreadsheet, and you can see here are some of the pages that I've already created. Open house list Santa Clara, I've already done that. San Jose, bedrooms under 1 million. So this is a particular niche where we want to run an ad. I keep getting, all right, Amanda Vang, yes, people are still. Particular niche where we run, I'll just do it this way. Open houses, right? Open houses. People, yes, I know they could find them on Zillow. But if somebody's on Facebook and they see an ad for open houses, free list of open houses this weekend, they might click on it and get the free list rather than saying, well, maybe I could go to Zillow and I could type and I could put in open houses and then they'll show me. They might just fill that out. Now that would then add somebody to your database who's obviously interested in real estate enough that they want to get a list of open houses. That's one, open houses. Number two, any listing that sounds too good to be true. Now, an average home in San Jose, in the Santa Clara County, single family home costs about 1.6 million average. So a 4-bedroom San Jose under $1 million home, you understand that sounds too good to be true. And you could create a landing page where people would go to look at it. I can show you how to do that quickly. And a seller page, what is your home worth in today's changing market, right? You can click here, and I have others of these, as you can see. So by the way, once you've created one of these landing pages, you want to copy the link because it'll go away if you don't copy it and put it someplace, right? But as you can see, I've already done that, right? So I'm going to copy that link. So now I have a Idx Squeeze page that shows all the open houses. What I want to do is to create something that I can advertise. So I'm going to go to step 2. And step 2 is I want to create a landing page. And by the way, if you're thinking, oh my God, this is just too much, I'm never going to learn how to do this. Inside Real Estate, who runs KV Core, has programs where you can pay them and they'll set it up for you. Also, many of you have seen Be Known University, William and Brian talk, and they have a relatively inexpensive program in my view, and they'll do all this stuff for you. But for those of you that want to do it yourself, this is how you would do it. when we click up here, we want to leave this, we want to generate leads, but notice we could do other things, address capture. So let's say I was running a find out what your home is worth instantly right now, find out I want to capture their address, right? But right now, I just want to capture the leads. Hashtag, which is optional. Why do I want to do that? Because it'll connect my results, it'll connect my ad, it'll connect a follow-up system, all to people that come through this list. Submit button text. Get the list. How about that? Something subtle. And then I'm going to paste in that really long URL. Now, do I want to require a phone? Probably not. One of the things that we could set the system up to do is to text people. Background images, notice one of them is open house. Oh, it says open house. Now what I do is I say, and all of these things that I don't want, I just double click and they go away. This is pretty much all that it is. Email, cell phone optional, get the list. Now, when I click on save, warning, there went the bookmarks, yeah. At the bottom of that page will include, so what I want to do is when I lead type, did I want to change anything there? I could tell it that these are probably buyers or sellers, but I don't really know. Sellers go to open houses. I click on save. You'll not be able to save or edit this page. When you click OK, you'll be directed to the link from that page and use the links on the top. All right, so let's just see what happens. All right, this is what the page looks like. If I copy that link and I go back to my, now I've already done this, right, before, but this would be, that's the link. That's the link. So now that I've done this, I've created, where am I? Where am I? Not there, here. Now that I've done this, I could go to a social media site, just as an example. Twitter is a weird, but you know. Oh yes, of course you're going to do that because I cleaned the browser cache and so Facebook wants me to authenticate. Let's do something simple, LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn is not going to be as fussy and will let me log right in. All right, there's a nice EXP. So if I click this and I paste it in, it's going to give me a preview, open houses. And once you've, and by the way, it works the same on Facebook, right? I just don't have the patience to wait for my two-factor authentication. Open houses are back. Something like that. And I could add hashtags and neighbor. I'm just, you know, I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to spend all day. But when I click on post, post is successful, right? I now have, yeah, I know. I've used special software to get this up. So here is my LinkedIn. I mean, what am I talking? LinkedIn, yeah. And so it's posted. I have to figure out how do I find my posts again. It's been a while since I've done this, but I know. Does everybody understand? Now we have, I didn't really want to close that, but I did anyhow. I still have the URL. So if we were going to run, now what might I do with that link, right? So I just posted on LinkedIn. That didn't cost anything, didn't cost a dime. But let's say I was really serious about getting people to click on it that are prospective buyers. What I would do is I would go to Facebook and I would run an ad. And by the way, there are Inside Real Estate, who makes KV Core, just a few weeks ago did a 2-part series on the open house list, and they go into this in excruciating detail. But what I could do is I could run a Facebook ad picking my area, picking the city of San Jose or Santa Clara County, and then I could identify people, because they allow you to pick an audience based upon their interests. So I could identify people that have expressed an interest in Realtor.com, Redfin, and Zillow. Right now, not always, but people that have expressed an interest on Facebook in those 3 might be looking to buy a house, right? Or I could just make it for everybody. So once I've created the landing page, I can just post it on my own social media. I could put it in my emails that I email to people, in my newsletter. Hey, want to get a free list of open houses? I could send it to everybody in my database. Want to get a free list of open houses, right? And send it to everybody. And people would start to fill them out, and then it would go into my system, and then there's a follow-up, and you get the idea. So that's one example of a multi-property one. A single property one is where, if we already knew one, we would be able to do it, right? We could pick one. But multi-property, what we might do is say, I'm looking for an example. I'm going to get rid of condos. I want a single family home, right? And what I want is a maximum price of $1 million. And I want it to be in San Jose, California, right? Just for example, city of San Jose, under $1 million. And what I want, because we want this to be too good to be true, we want it to be 4 bedrooms, right? And options down here, we're going to pick just listed. Or we could, if I were doing it on a regular basis, I might newly built, open house, adult. You can see there's a lot of them. I'm going to leave this blank for now. I'm going to get rid of this. This would be a different hashtag, which would have something to do with 4-bedroom San Jose under $1 million. Can't think of it. Default views before registration. In the open house, I guess I left it that way. Usually I might say never, which means people can click on as many. Sometimes the default is 2. When they've clicked on the second one, they're asked to register. They don't have to, but that's up to you. And then I'm going to click generate links. The links are a little bit different because I've changed this. And so what do we get? What do we get? What can you buy that's a 4-bedroom? There are some. There they are. 4-bedroom, single-family homes under $1 million in the city of San Jose. Right. So when we run the ad, right, what we're going to do, we'll create a landing page like we did before. Right. But now we're going to talk about what we want to do is run let me just see how LinkedIn would handle this. Let me go back to LinkedIn. The LinkedIn people are going to wonder what I'm doing today. So if I just drop in the link, there's a house, homes in San Jose. San Jose, single family, 4-bedroom home under $1 million. There's a picture of one, right? I could add in hashtags and things like that. And I'm probably not going to post this, but do you understand how easy that is? I didn't even create a landing page. In other words, I'm sending people directly to the squeeze page. Now, what's the advantage? I'm going to discard it. What's the advantage of sending people to the squeeze page? Well, let's say they liked, this one looks like a beautiful home. This one looks like a beauty. All right, so they clicked on this beautiful home. right? You can see beautiful. Only $7.99. But notice the branding. It's me. If they say I want to chat, it comes to me. By the way, that's you set that up through Facebook Messenger. That's where the chat comes through. Ask the agent a question that comes to me. Request a showing, it comes to me. Email. You understand? All of this is on my KV Core website. Right. So and this is my really easy button because I skipped the whole process of creating a landing page and I just went to the results. I missed some parts due to a business call. Yes, you can get a recording. Right. I think we'll send a link to it. By the way, everything I do pretty much ends up on my YouTube channel. Subscribe, click the bell, right? So you'll be notified, right? So that's another example, something that sounds too good to be true. One, open houses. Two, things that sound too good to be true. Now, we could also do, one of the things that you can do if you're with EXP as an example, listings, right? And many of you may have heard me talk about what's going on with the multiple listing service and adding other listings. You are, if you're at EXP, are allowed to market any EXP listings. And one of the advantages that EXP has, let's say over Century 21, where I used to work, or Keller Williams, is that those are franchises. So each office usually has a different broker. When the listings belong to the broker, so Keller Williams Cupertino and Keller Williams Santa Rosa, two different Keller Williams, Century 21 in Oakland and Century 21 in Monterey, totally different companies, different brokers, but at EXP, there's only one broker. What that means is any of these listings that I happen to see, and there are a lot of them in the San Jose, that by the way is one of my people who might be even on the line. She might even be there. But you can see here are all of the listings in San Jose, and you could advertise it. You could advertise it. One of the easiest way of doing it is that I'm not going to get into the details, but you can market any of the company listings, and all of our listings are company listings. What else? The other thing that I wanted to squeeze pages, I know, select the domain. All right. So we've talked, multi-property is what you use when you're doing a search result. For example, I could be doing a multifamily, right? Just because I like multi, and duplex, triplex, fourplexes, and above for sale. I could create a list of all of those, create a landing page that leads to the list. If I have a property that I want to create, like a single property website, I could do that. And then what everybody really wants to see is a seller squeeze page. And what a seller, by squeeze, what we mean is the goal of the page is to get people to give up their information. And a lot of it looks the same, but if we typed in San Jose, the city of San Jose, and again, we can create right. I don't know why I did that. So I don't know why I did that. Let me go back. I'm getting to the end of my, so the seller squeeze page allows us to create a landing page. All right, come here. Landing page. And what we would do is we would say, all right, I want the address. The hashtag, which I haven't created, might be seller valuation. These are called seller valuation pages. And so we're going to get, and I could add to this, but I'm just going to get rid of all this. Enter your address. Instantly find out what your home is worth. Background, I might like to pick something else. I don't know. There's nothing really particularly wrong with that. There's one of people that are happy, right? I don't relate to that very well. There's a living room. If you liked the lady looking at the market is shifting, all we ask for is the address. Now, the system will capture more. When we click on save and we click on OK, it's going to give us this, and that's the link, right, to the squeeze page. And again, we could go to wherever we want to practice, which is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is good because it doesn't want me to go through all this. The market is shifting, right? Something like that. Picture of her looking, market is shifting. They're giving me suggested hashtags. When I click on post, it'll be posted. Now, again, I'm not doing all of these because the people think I'm crazy on LinkedIn sometimes because I post stuff that I'm just testing out. But again, I could also boost that post. Right. Once I have it, I could go into a geographic areas and now Facebook doesn't allow me to narrow it down too much. Custom audiences would allow me to do that. So you ought to have first of all, what are we covering today? Newsletter, right? You ought to send something out. You ought to tell people what's going on in the neighborhood. You ought to reach out to local breweries and wineries and restaurants and anybody who's doing something and reopening and give them some shout out on your blog and maybe mention them in your newsletter and tag them when you do this. You post it on Facebook, you tag them so that they know you're doing it. You might actually find they're going to be willing to help you too, right? They might. And then, so we want to do the newsletter, we want to do a open house list, find out the open houses. We'd like to maybe have properties that sound too good to be true in your area. Your number might be different because there might be a lot of homes, four bedroom under $1 million where you are, and we want to have a seller valuation page. And going forward, we're going to talk about other things like having a catalog of properties that you're marketing and rotating and niches and things like that. But this is a basic group: seller valuation, right? Open house list, buyer leads based upon particular properties, and a newsletter. And by the way, you can get seller leads by marketing individual properties or groups of properties if you're doing it in the right price range. So if the price range of the properties you're marketing is the kind of price range that would be a move up buyer, somebody that would have to sell and buy, it's possible to get listings from pushing that as well. All right, I don't know if that was that disjointed or was it just me? I don't know, maybe. Was that a helpful thing? I missed some parts, yeah. All right. I'm gonna have to tell Amanda that I mentioned her today. I'm sure she'll be happy to hear that. But any questions about this? Now's a good time to do stuff. I can see the market is softening. I had a buyer, I closed the transactions, the first time home buyer yesterday, right? It's possible, right? It's possible. Any questions, or is that enough to last for one day? All right. Well, I'm assuming you've had enough because nobody's saying anything. That's all I got. Reach out to me if you have any specific questions. If you're in my group, find those articles. If not, talk to me. We could work something out. See you later.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Amir. Bye, everyone.
All right.
Bye. Bye.